ready for UFC 299 this weekend? Well, I got some exciting news for you UFC fans. I have teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook to bring you the ultimate fight night experience. Imagine this, you're a new customer to DraftKings, you place an initial wager, and if that bet doesn't hit, no sweat. You will get a bonus bet back in the amount of your original bet up to $1,000. Just download the DraftKings app. Make sure you sign up using my promo code Sonnen. The crown is yours. And DraftKings has got something for the existing customers as well. All customers get SGP insurance every day. Get a bonus bet back in the amount of your initial bet if one leg of your SGP loses. Minimum number of legs required and maximum bet varies. If sportsbook betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy. Download the DraftKings app right now. New customers, use my promo code Sonnen and get a no sweat bet. That's promo code Sonnen only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Sean O'Malley, Chito Vera. Let's break that down. Chito Vera has proven, I got to start with this. Chito Vera has proven to be a lot better than we thought he was. This is off the top of my head, but there was a time in Chito's career when he was 4-2 or he was 2-4. But whichever it was, the guys that had beat him were released from the UFC. They weren't even still around. That's very compelling. If they weren't around, why was he still there? Did he have a favor? Had they not got around to cutting his contract yet? Did they see potential? The fights that Chito lost, did the matchmakers see a potential? I'd be very curious to that answer. I don't know it myself. And when you watch a street fighter, when you watch a guy that gets that mark, that's just dirty, he's a dirty brawler. Those are real compliments within our industry. Like Chito would love if you called him a dirty brawler or you called him a street fighter. It's a real praise. Roberto Duran, one of the great legends ever in boxing, would go into that category. He had more grit than he had skill. He had more competitiveness than he had experience. And Chito is a brawler. When I tell you he's better than we thought, this is a guy who was either 4-2 or 2-4. I'm not going to take the time to go back and correct it because it doesn't matter, because that same guy neither is overly impressive. That same guy that's not overly impressive and found a way to stick around eventually docked out Dominic Cruz. Okay? Whoever those two guys that had beaten Vera early on, they got released, that aren't even there. I can't produce their names. That's not my attempt to be disrespectful to those guys, by the way. It's my attempt to show you what a survivor Chito is. They didn't survive. They didn't make it. They're not still around. He was a main event against a future Hall of Famer and a former world champion. Oh, and by the way, he won by knockout. This is a very interesting riddle I'm presenting for you. That same guy is about to headline a pay-per-view and is one win away from a world title. Oh, by the way, hold on. It doesn't end there. Because the guy who he's fighting, named Suga Sean O'Malley, it's actually a rematch. And the dirty, rotten brawler won the first time. The guy who lost fights to guys who aren't even around, that guy that I was telling you a minute ago, that guy, his name's Chito, that guy won the first time. But Chito's the underdog. Not in my mind. According to DraftKings, the official line, Chito Vera is the dog. Chito Vera has been the dog from the jump. There wasn't a day that he wasn't. Like sometimes lines move or they get closer. Whoa, this guy passed him up. Or you have the open workouts. Or a rumor slips out that this guy's hurt and training camp hasn't gone well. There's ways to move those lines. Been very steady, been very consistent. And Sean O'Malley has been the favorite over Chito the entire time. And you go back and you look at greatest wins. That's one way that you would do it. Look at a guy's greatest win. What would you say it is for O'Malley? Beating Sterling brought him the world championship. But he also caught Aljo. The night that Sean O'Malley beat Peter Yan felt like a surprise. And not just that he beat him, but also the way that he beat him. O'Malley's ability to maintain range, not just to understand range. A fight analyst could understand range. A viewer could understand range. To implement and actually be able to maintain range for the better part of 15 minutes with somebody as good as Jan, man, it was a shock. O'Malley went from number 10 to number 1. I don't remember a time since they started doing the rankings in 2012. I do not remember a time a guy jumped 10 spots. Do you? I believe it's the only time that's ever been done. I remember the time they were fighting tooth and nail, break any rule and policy that we could possibly do just to get Chimaev a ranking. But I remember these things, and it can be a heavily manipulated situation. And when O'Malley went from 10 to 1, the only pushback by anybody in the community is how the hell did you have him at number 10? Not how does he end up at number 1? Like O'Malley versus Jan, that was the eye-opener, in my opinion. And I think that you would agree with me. I'm going to put that as O'Malley's biggest win because it was a full performance. There was a full grittiness. There was fatigue. There was rounds. There was information coming right from your coaches in your corner. Go, redo, hit the ground, but every 5 minutes we're going to reset you on your feet. That's very different than hitting Aljo on the chin in Indian tonight. That's one guy's opinion, but that's where I'm going to go. I'm then going to say for Vera, his greatest victory and performance is against Dominick Cruz, and that's very interesting to me because Dominick Cruz versus Sean O'Malley is really one of these dream matches. Right, they got the Arizona tie-in, and it's the old guard and the new guard. Like, there's just certain things in fighting that work. That works. Territory, geography, respect, new versus old. Like, there's just things that work. But the closest that we ever got to O'Malley and Cruz was the mutual opponent. So, when you're breaking down Vera and O'Malley, do you have any reason that this fight will be different than the last? Now, I'm purely looking at how DraftKings came to this conclusion. And this one's tight. My good friend John Anik would refer to this as a pick'em, but it's not quite even money. This is not quite even money. There is a very clear favorite here, which is Sean O'Malley. So I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you 10 seconds ago. Is there any reason you believe this fight is going to be different? I did not ask you if the outcome's going to be different. I'm asking you about the actual match. I'm asking you about the actual performance. Do you believe that Sean O'Malley is a better stand-up fighter now than he was then? Do you believe that Chito is a better stand-up fighter than he was then? Do you believe that O'Malley is hungrier now than he was then? Do you believe that Chito is hungrier now than he was then? And then let's just keep on playing this game. Let's just keep on bouncing it back and forth. Let's go to the grappling. Let's go to the wrestling. And let's go to the training camps. Let's go to the knowledge and information. Let's keep on playing this game until we get to the bottom of it. One thing about O'Malley that is extremely consistent is his consistency. He's a winner. Sean O'Malley is a gamer. And it doesn't matter if there's nobody in the room, which is that's a very weird environment to fight in. It really is. But that's what the set of Dana White Contender Series consists of. You're in a very quiet practice room type atmosphere. You can hear the other guy breathing. You can hear every word his coach says. You can hear the impact of the strikes. Just for example, if you juxtapose that against 17,438 screaming fans, which would represent O'Malley's last contest in Boston, all cheering for you. Think about that pressure. Think about everything on that. But O'Malley still goes out and performs. If O'Malley's hurt and he's on one leg, it's one thing you got to give Suga Sean. He will bring his tools with him. You are not going to go to a press conference and make that guy collapse. Not going to happen. You are not going to back him down in the media. You're not going to beat up a whole bunch of people and then make him scared and wilt where he doesn't bring his skills. Now, I have to bring up that competitiveness because that's an intangible. You can't see that and I can't prove it to you on paper. But it is 100% why Chito Vera is standing here today and he wasn't released like the guys who beat him. Chito, in front of your eyes, learned how to win. He didn't learn how to fight. He didn't learn how to stop an armbar. He didn't learn how to defend a double leg. That's not what it is. You can go back and watch those fights that he lost. That was a guy that didn't believe in himself, didn't know. Turned out he was better than he knew that he was. And then there was a day where he realized, I'm good at this, I deserve it. I don't need to be my own worst enemy. And those are two very scary guys to face. A guy like Sean O'Malley that can do it in an empty room, or he can do it in a sold-out arena. He can do it on two legs feeling great, or he could be busted up and he's not going to quit and he's not going to stop. Versus a guy who spent part of his life being his own worst enemy and stopping himself, finally learned to get out of his own way. And now how far can he go? That's a massive question. Why could Chito not win this fight, considering he already has? Why could Chito not become world champion, considering he's already beaten world champions? This is a mess. It really is. When Jon Anik refers to it as a pick'em, not quite. But when DraftKings refers to O'Malley as the favorite, that's true that he is. But if you're going to roll with Anik and go, I don't know, or you're going to roll with DraftKings and you're going to pick O'Malley, you are going to have to ask yourself one question. In the first fight, when these same two guys weighing the same thing, under the same unified rules, did this exact same thing, who, prior to the ending, did you feel was performing better? You're going to have to ask yourself that, and that has been greatly debated. That has been greatly debated, including with myself. I was there. I was at the Apex. I watched that fight, and you want to know who I thought was winning? O'Malley. That's what I thought. I went back and rewatched that fight. I didn't come to the same opinion. So it really is a very confusing match, and we really can't move on with this division. I mean, we really can't go forward. Put a belt on one guy and put a number one contendership on another guy. What's Merab going to do? Where's Nurmagomedov fit into this? Like, we really can't go forward until these two settle this. And the first one did not settle it. Sugar State Athletic Commission even threw it out. Some people that will tell you that fight never even happened. But something happened, and there was a level of performance. And you got O'Malley, who's really good and knows it. You got Chito, who's really good and just found out. Those are two dangerous guys, man. It's a very interesting fight. DraftKings says O'Malley's the favorite, which tells me that DraftKings believes O'Malley, up until the injury, was winning the first fight. I'd be very curious. If you would leave me a comment below, I would be very curious if you agree.